Good morning. How are you doing? Hey, I'm behind Bibby. Hey, how you doing? Hey, welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. It's Wednesday. We've got the hump day right in front of us now. Nice. How are we all doing? You good? You good? Hey. How was the dollop yesterday, babe?
At the end of the stream, I looked back at it, ready to cut it up, and we had sound. So it's 100% better than it was on Friday. So we're getting somewhere.
You love to see it. So for those of you that may have not tuned in yesterday, we did have a one-man dollop. So we've been dolloping on a Friday throughout the summer. For those that don't know what it is, this show is named in true ice creamy fashion. This is The Scoop, because we bring you all the latest scoops from the games industry, and also it's an ice cream scoop. That's kind of where the name comes from. Anyway, we usually have The Scoop, which is me and Bib, but when one of us isn't here, we go from a full scoop to just a little dollop. It's one-man show. Anyway, so we've been, Bibby has been dolloping his way through summer, but yesterday I ventured back to the Ice Cream Upload studio for the first time in 9 months, and it looks majestic. No, it doesn't look majestic. It looks like it's been turned into a dumping ground. They've ruined our baby while we've been away, which makes sense. It's full of all sorts of boxes full of merch, t-shirts, and all sorts of other things. But it was nice to see it in person for the first time in 9 months. But yeah, Bibby dolloped yesterday, so nice. Anyway, if you are in the chat, please do feel free to get involved over the next hour or so to give you a rundown of what this is, who we are. My name is Graham. Hey, how you doing? This is Bibby. Hey, how you doing, Bib? Nice.
I'm doing great, yeah.
Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We go live on Twitch at 10 a.m. each and every single weekday morning, bringing you the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. And today is nothing different. It's more of the same. We are bringing you some big, tasty stories. If you haven't seen, we've given you a teaser on one of those already. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that it's important that if you are in the chat, please do feel free to get involved over the next hour. So we go live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads every day at 10 a.m. ish with The Scoop, the podcast that's live, but that the stream that's live, should I say, but that gets turned into a podcast, a YouTube video, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So it's important. It's on you. Make sure you get involved on behalf of those people that are watching and listening on demand. And if you are watching and listening on demand right now, I love you. You're very beautiful. You keep doing what you're doing. The world fucking loves you. Yeah. Anyway, good morning. How are we all doing? Before we jump into the show, ! Loot drop. Bibby has acquired a sexy asset for this month's loot drop. So that will be going out on social. If not today, definitely this week. So you will be able to see what you can vote on for this month's prize. Basically, if you're a subscriber, you could get prizes. Subscribers get prizes. Well, subscriber gets prize because it's not plural, because only one person gets the prize, but you know what I mean. So yeah, subscriber gets prize. So one subscriber, if you're a sub, be that Prime, be that tier 1, 2, 3, a gifted sub, as long as you are a sub on the day that we draw the loot drop, you could be in with a chance of winning. You just need to make sure that you're in our Discord and you have a Twitch and a Discord account that you've linked. If you haven't linked the accounts, you can't see the loot drop area on the Discord. And if you can't see that, you're not in with a chance of winning. So make sure you're in Discord and you're a sub. As subs get dubs. You goddamn right, Iceman. Yeah, good morning. So make sure you're in that. We have some cool stuff to choose between. Obviously, it's not our cool stuff. Well, some of it's our cool stuff, but it's nice to have some cool options. So one person will bag themselves a nice prize at the start of next month. To give you a reminder, next month's loot drop will take place on the 6th. It's the first Monday of the month. That is the 6th of September. Also,
are we allowed to say what it is? I mean,
yeah, go on.
A little teaser for the guys.
Yeah, go on then. Give it away.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen,
give it away now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this month's prizes are pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Oh, one sec. I'm going Big Bib. Let's go all Big Bib.
Hey, we'll cut this up and put it on the socials. It'd be great. If you are obviously a subscriber and you have your Discord and your Twitch and your Discord both linked up, and you are a subscriber, you'll be getting into the loot drop. We go through this every single month. You know the drill by now. But this month, similar to last month, we are giving you the option of what prizes that you want to be able to earn. There will be a poll going up on Twitter. I'm going to make sure that gets done today. And you get to choose one of 4 prizes.
And what are those 4 prizes, Bib?
The prizes are a crate of Muscle Moose. You know
Oof.
the guys over there. Exclamation Muscle Moose in the chat. If you do want to know more about what the guys do over there, they make some fantastic energy drinks. And not just energy drinks, they do stuff like porridge, they do stuff like flapjacks, all fantastic gear. We are not sponsored. This is not an advertisement. They are just good. They're just good guys that give us some stuff. Because it's fantastic. Why wouldn't you want to accept that?
Hashtag gifted.
Hashtag gifted. There we go. Secondly, as always, there is some Muscle Moose. There is some ice cream uploads merchandise ready for you guys to be able to order. Do you like our esports jerseys? Do you want a baseball cap? Are you in the market for a new hoodie? We have got all bases covered for you guys, so you can choose what item it is that you want from the from our Gamers Apparel. That's it. I nearly forgot the name of the people that do it for us. If you want any of our Gamers Apparel merchandise, then obviously that's the option that you want to try and vote for. But we have got 2 games being available for you this month. The first one is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, as far as I'm aware, and it's Kenna Bridge of Spirits. It's a game that we looked at last year at Gamescom, and it was one of the most standout games for me personally. A game that I didn't even think Graham would be interested in, and he most certainly is. It is going to be a game that's going to change a lot of opinions and the way that you potentially may want to play your video games. It's going to use all those sexy features of the PlayStation 5 controller.
You got them right.
But our last prize is probably the biggest one. If you are into the American sports, and it is NBA 2K22. Yes, it's the doozy. It's the one that I think most people are looking forward to with all the next gen sports games.
Swoosh.
It's going to be. It's going to be absolutely fire. I do think that prize may end up running away with it because it is going to be a popular choice. But if you want to obviously vote against that or for it, then there's only one way that you can do that, and that is via our poll, which we will get out by the end of today.
Goddamn right. Nailed it. So there you go. 4 different prizes. NBA 2K. Kina or Kenna, we don't know. The name keeps changing. Bridge of Spirits. Some Muscle Moose items or some ICU merch items. Item. You get a Muscle Moose crate or an ICU item of your choice from the store or one of the 2 games. So you get to choose. We will put that poll out today. You guys get to vote, and then the loot drop winner gets to take the prize home at the end of the day. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you win and you voted for NBA 2K, but everyone goes, no, we want another ICU jersey. I'm sorry, you may have voted for NBA 2K, but the people have spoken. It's an ICU jersey, so make sure you get your vote in if you want NBA 2K. If you want Kina Kanone, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Bridge of Spirits, then get involved. Make sure you put your votes down. Create a Muscle Moose. Yeah, get your boat on it. Get your boat on it. Yeah, put your boat on it. That's a good way. Say 2K 3 times in front of the mirror and I appear. 2K. What the fuck? Where did he come from?
Oh, well, that's a pace.
I just lob a Pokeball at him. Ow! Callum, good morning. Outriders. Mr. Stephen Day, how are you doing? Good morning, Crumpet01, how are you doing? Bibby owned the dollop like a boss. Goddamn right. I was gonna ring in. Yesterday I was thinking, I'm gonna dial in Bibby on Discord video call from my phone so I can go, look, I'm in the studio. Because I know there's a lot of people that still haven't seen the studio internally. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I put some pictures in Discord instead because it was a little bit... It's been used by other people for other things right now, because obviously we've not used the studio for a while, and we do quite a lot of other things in the games industry. It's turned into a dumping ground. So when me and Bib go back in, we will have to fix. It's going to be a bit of a fixer-upper, like Kena Bridge of Spirits looks like. Anyway, not that game looks like it's a fixer-upper. It looks like the scene from For Us. It's fine, you get it. Anyway, if we do it backwards, you disappear. K2. He's gone. Maybe it works. I can't see him. He's not in my room. Or is he? How do we know? Anyway, so if you don't know what we are here for, obviously I've gone through all of the introduction. Don't need to go through it all again, but we do go through the biggest, the best, and breaking stories from the world of video games, and we have a few for you today. A little bit of a mixed bag as well. Old stuff being revisited and new stuff that's fresh off the press. The lead story is kind of a bit of both. It's old stuff and new stuff. It's old stuff in the fact that Fortnite is a game that's built off of success by essentially copying another game, let's be honest. New stuff is that Fortnite is now copying another game, as Fortnite's new mode, Imposters, is, well, it's basically an Among Us ripoff. But we'll go through that as our first story of the day. We will then follow that with our other news articles, which include the fact that the California DFEH, which is the agency that has taken Activision Blizzard to court, they have said that Riot failed to inform employees of their rights to speak on harassment claims. So basically, they're going for Riot. So Activision Blizzard are already in court. California DFEH are now going for Riot Games. We'll go through that article, give you all the details on that, and then follow that up with, don't make me reach over to the drawer for this, because Cyberpunk 2077 has its biggest patch today. It includes its first batch of post-launch DLC freebies. We'll give you all of the information on that. And then finally, a bit of a bizarre one, but Outriders, that game that was meant to be massive, made by People Can Fly, which actually are potentially going to be working back on Fortnite. Well, Save the World anyway, soon. Anyway, People Can Fly, the devs of Outriders, don't know how many copies of the game were sold, which kind of say that, yeah, it's not done very good for itself, but we will give you all of the details on that. But Mr. Bibb.
Hello.
You're a man that likes Fortnite.
I love Fortnite.
You're a man that's not the biggest fan of Among Us, though.
No.
Would you play Among Us if it was in Fortnite?
Absolutely not.
Oh, well, that's it. Next article then instead. Well, Bibby, you'll be excited to know. Ishraq Subhan, apologies if I've got the name wrong there, at Eurogamer says, Epic has added a new game mode into Fortnite that has an uncanny resemblance to Among Us. Fortnite Imposters sees 10 players, which is 8 agents and 2 imposters, play out their roles on a submarine. Like in Among Us, the agents carry out routine assignments, while the imposters sabotage the facility and eliminate players. Imposters can also teleport players to cover their tracks and disable assignments. Of course, it wouldn't be Fortnite without a few memes. For a short period, a Peely party takes place where all agents and imposters look like Peely, an iconic character of judicial significance. And just like Among Us, agents can call for a discussion at any time by finding and reporting an eliminated agent or interacting with the discussion panel. During discussions, agents and imposters can share information with each other via emotes and a brand new quick chat menu, asking contextual questions about who was doing what and accusing suspicious candidates for ejection. At the end of each discussion, agents and imposters vote to either eject someone or skip their vote. This isn't the first time Epic has quite obviously taken ideas from other genres and added it into Fortnite. When Epic first added Battle Royale into the game, PUBG Corp accused Epic of lifting ideas straight from PUBG. So, do you know what? Completely new. Never been done before in the world of video games. Fortnite decides to add a game called Imposters. A mode called Imposters. There you go. Thoughts, Bib? Let me hit play on this video while you give the lowdown.
It's like you said in your leading video, it's highly sus. This is crude. Is that the polite way of putting it? This is kind of crude. Like they've literally just taken the whole premise of Among Us and put it into Fortnite. There will be people who have never played Among Us, I being one of them, that now have the opportunity to play out an Among Us style game within Fortnite. It's not going to make me play it. If I wanted to play Among Us, I would have just played it like on my mobile, which, you know, it's free on there, but like you have to pay £5 on your Nintendo Switch or whatever. So there is ways of being able to play it if you've never played it before, but this is highly sus. Like this, it doesn't feel right. Like the people who making an Among Us have been groundbreaking. They haven't really adapted. I don't think they've adapted well enough for it to still be relevant. Like it doesn't feel like they kicked on. Do you know what I mean? It's the same with Fall Guys. They had the initial boom, and then it just kind of disappeared after a month or so. You don't see that, but I don't see that many people who I followed way before Among Us came out who was playing it for a month solid. They're not playing that game again now. So I don't know whether or not the development of trying to make new maps and try to make it worthwhile coming back every single day, again, worthwhile. I'm not too sure, but it's just Fortnite taking ideas from everybody else and putting it into their own game. That as long as they haven't infringed on any patents or copyright any kind of copyright, then they won't be the first company to take ideas from somebody else and put it into their own material, shall we say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if they haven't patented it, then they're doing nothing wrong. It's just a little bit disrespectful, but it's business.
Yeah, I mean, Like, see, I'm gonna go back and talk about PUBG for a change because I don't do it. Just bear with me. I don't do it often. Just bear with me while I do it this one time. Yeah, let me get let's get. Graham talks about PUBG. So yeah, I know I don't do it very often, but no, the PUBG crossover, I don't mind that, and I thought it was kind of daft of PUBG to try and take them to court because the whole PUBG situation. I mean, we've spoken about Brendan Green, player unknown, putting PUBG elements in multiple different games before he finally put something together in PUBG, and Fortnite ripped that off. But it wasn't really a rip-off because that whole Brendan Green thing was a community work. It was thousands of voices over months and years of different video games leading to something being built. So Brendan Green was just the first one to put it into a package. People were doing that anyway. He wasn't the only Battle Royale creator, even though he obviously gets the moniker of the godfather of Battle Royale or something of that like. So Fortnite ripping off PUBG was kind of like a... PUBG kind of ripped off Battle Royale in essence. So Fortnite was just doing what PUBG was just doing. So that kind of didn't matter that much. Whereas Inner Sloth is a tiny dev. It's 3 developers, I think it is, that work at the studio. They may have increased the size now. And they put together a game that looks like it was made by 3 developers. It's a bit clunky, it's a bit... But that's its personality, its charm. And ripping that off is some people that have excelled, brought something amazing into the world, and then just going, oh, we'd like that. So we wanted Battle Royale, we'll steal it. We wanted Fall Guys, oh, well, we'll buy it. We wanted Inner Sloth, yeah, we'll just steal that as well. So Inner Sloth's devs, they can't compete with what Epic have done there. So I like Epic as a company. The stuff that they've done for developers, the stuff that they've done with the Epic Games Store, don't get me wrong, it's all profit hunting, definitely. But I like Epic as a company. I don't like this decision, though. Asim's words were, it's a bit unclassy. Why not just do a collab instead with Among Us? That's it for me. Absolutely. If you can collab with Marvel, if you can collab with Man City, if you can collab with Neymar, these aren't cheap brands. If you can collab with all of that, throw the Mandalorian in as a spearhead of a season, you get all of that in there, then surely you can collab with Inner Sloth, the Among Us devs. It's not copying, it's an homage. Is that what it is? Nice. Well, I'm going to try that. When I start selling my Adidas, which it looks like an A at the end, my new trainers that are made by Adidas, it looks like an A, but it's an O, honestly. That extra line is just there. It's an homage. There you go. Was that good morning? Swoosh, good afternoon.
Hey,
It is afternoon now, so yeah, good morning, dude. How's things? Was that says, I thought it was a collab. Yeah, I literally, this is the first I've heard of it, so I didn't have any pre-existing thoughts on what I thought it would have been. The fact that there's not a mention and it doesn't appear in the trailer says to me it's not a collab. And if it's not a collab, then I agree with Asim's choice of word. It's unclassy. This has no class. It's okay. Think of family / universal / fun. I won't use the word party games because that's where Fall Guys kind of falls into it, and Among Us kind of is as well. But Fortnite is on the verge of party. They are family. Let's say family games, good open family games that anyone can play. Fortnite speaks to all age groups. Fall Guys can speak to all age groups. Among Us can speak to all age groups, and it kind of just speaks to me that they've gone, okay, we've got 2 out of the 3. We might as well just rip off the 3rd one, seeing as we don't have that one as well, which is just bad. It's just not good. Next up, Graham talks about Slim Chickens for a change. Well, let me bring you back up to speed. If you haven't been to Slim Chickens, by the way, it's fucking good. My Slim Chickens on Friday was do it. My one on Friday last week was exceptional. Definitely do it. Battle Royale is a genre, so it wasn't really stolen though. No, I agree. I mean, it was a little bit nail on the head because Battle Royale, up until PUBG, had different variations of how it worked and like trying to have square zones versus circle zones versus different like fogs and whatever. And Fortnite were kind of like very much copy the notes. They didn't look at like all of the iterations and evolutions of Battle Royale. They just kind of went, yoink, we'll take that. But PUBG did that with quite a lot of the bits as well. So, yeah, exactly, H1Z1 before PUBG. And that
I
was...
H1Z1. Absolutely loved it.
I mean, King of the Kill came well down the line as well. There was Battle Royale was churning away for years before H1Z1 got involved as well. So, like I say, PUBG and the Fortnite stuff, I don't mind that because that's just what's happened. So we got like Armor Days and H1s and then PUBGs and then Fortnites, and it's just evolution. Fortnite was a little bit too close, a little bit closer. It wasn't really evolution, that was more copying, but it was there was a lot of it. PUBG, like I say, it was a community built genre. The community themselves created Battle Royale, so that's just creating that's not ripping off, but riffing off a community, whereas this is blatantly ripping off a game. Yeah, Battle Royale / PUBG was a community product. Among Us wasn't, and they've clearly just gone, fuck it, we've done it once, we can do it again.
Magic's comment there, we didn't pay attention to the Among Us mechanics. I don't think that leads to a healthy game industry. Is it really that hard to put 10% more effort into putting your own spin on it, though? That's what one of the devs tweeted on Twitter. Well, that's the issue. We've seen recently that Warner Brothers, I say recently, it's probably in the last couple of years, Warner Brothers patented their Nemesis system, which, if you've ever played any of the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War games, like the Nemesis system is fantastic. It's so good. And I'm sure it was in Mad Max as well. Like, they've done that because they know how good it is. Like, Among Us could have protected themselves, and then Epic would have, if they wanted to, they would have had to have paid Among Us to be able to try and use that license as a mechanic. So it's, I don't want to say it's their own fault because that's such a shitty thing to be able to make. But I mean, the guys who obviously made Among Us would have absolutely appreciated Epic going, do you know what? We could have done something here, and it would have made them a lot of money. It would have had so much, well, I say much more exposure. I don't think Among Us needed any more exposure than it already had. It had the biggest streamers in the world playing this game. So yeah, I don't want to say it's their own fault because, again, that is such a shitty thing to say, but I do think that they needed to think long and hard about that system. If they can still patent it, get it done as soon as possible, because there's no loyalty in video games. There's no loyalty in business. And if someone's there to make money off of the back of what they've made popular, then someone's going to do it. And it's just the biggest game in the world that has gone and done it first, after them, obviously. So I don't know.
It is interesting. It's quite ironic as well, because we've just had the whole Fortnite does 1984 video in the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. It was like, basically stick it to the man. These megacorps, they just want to control everything about your destiny. And if you put Epic next to Inner Sloth, then Epic is the big corporate thing that wants to control your destiny. Yeah. So the irony is they didn't want to be controlled by a bigger powerhouse, but yet they've done the exact same sort of thing. They were talking about the greater good. We don't think 30% fees on app stores are credible anymore, especially with the pretty much monopoly on certain markets that iOS has. We think 30% should be much lower, and I agree with them in that sort of sense. But it's just, there's the irony that they've just, they're trying to monopolize someone else. It's just like, read the room. What have you just been preaching?
In a free game as well, because obviously Fortnite is free across everything. If it has the Nintendo Switch hasn't got the ability to play like the Save the World stuff, but this, I imagine, Wiz has asked if we played the Imposters mode. I know Wiz is obviously a hardcore Fortnite player, so I imagine it's a is it a community creation game within the Battle Royale side? Like, you can go through all the navigations in the menu and see it there, rather than it being a separate mode like Save the World is. But yeah, it's shitty. It's super shitty. But again, there's no loyalty in business, and if they haven't gone around the way, again, I feel fucking cringe saying this because it is a very small indie company trying to make a difference. And to be fair, they absolutely did. If you've got one of the biggest games in the world looking at your formula and going, that is shit hot, we need to try and do something like that. And then they're going into the background, they're digging a little bit deeper and going, actually, they haven't really done anything with that. There's no trademark or anything. There's no patent. We can take that and bring it into our game. Then they've done the research, the due diligence, and to say, okay, we're not going to get in trouble for this, but it's a bit shitty not reaching out and doing something with them, because it would have benefited both parties a lot more to Inner Sleuth. but it would have benefited both parties, and it's a shame that this has happened in all sense.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Fortnite haven't done anything. Epic haven't done anything wrong because there's no copyrights and stuff. It's just that tweet from Madge that Madge shared from one of the devs. We didn't patent the Among Us mechanics. I don't think that leads to a healthy game industry, which is the conversation that we've spoken about previously with Warner Brothers patenting the Nemesis system. If anyone else, through their natural progression and creation, looking to push video games forward, comes up with something that then ends up near the Nemesis system, then, okay, well, we'll take you to court and we'll get that ripped out of your game, or we'll take massive amounts of money off you as you pay us royalties towards that. It's not conducive to a great games industry. And this is where the difference is like, Inner Sloth have come at this, and if you've ever seen of any of their interviews, any of their developer talks, or any of their even on awards shows where they've been interviewed and stuff, they are proper like salt of the earth kind of people. They like video games. They breathe video games. Video games are for everyone to share. This is the amazing thing that we've brought to share together. I mean, just look at some of the design choices in Among Us. If that's not a weirdly creative person, I don't know what is. But like they've come at that, which is admirable, but it's also not business, and that's the difference. Ish. I mean, if you look at it from a business perspective, it is naive. Businessly, it's naive, and that's where the not even a juxtaposition, the clash of tact is. So Epic are talking about wanting right for the people, but yet they are Mr. Business when it comes to this, which that's where my disappointment is to finish that quote that I was reading through. Is it really, where's it going scrolling? Is it really that hard to put 10% more effort into putting your own spin on it, though? That's it. If you just copy like for like and sell to your audience because you're bigger, you're just shitting on someone else for your own profit. If you build on it and make it better, that's evolution. That is fine. And they haven't done that. And that's where it's a little bit of a shame. I think Epic have some very good lawyers. Yeah, that is also a shame. I mean, I was obviously a lot of people were on the fence with the Epic versus Apple lawsuit sort of stuff. I was on Epic's side in that. I believe that Apple have built up a system that they've spent a lot of time developing, and a lot of people going, well, they've put the effort in, they can reap the rewards, which I agree with that sentiment, but once things become so big, there's rules to change that you basically become as big as government. Legislation should change for you there, and I believe that Apple got so big that they have unfair monopolies that what's the word I'm looking for? Competition. So it becomes antitrust. It becomes anti-competitive. You can hurt the market by just changing price influxes, like increase the price, lower the price at your will, can absolutely destroy whole industries. So I believed, without going into too much detail on that one, I believe in the Epic fight there. I don't believe in the Epic fight here. This is not good for me. No. Speaking of Epic and Fortnite, by the way, let me just type this in. Boom. Check out Wizite. If you want to see someone playing Fortnite with exceptional skill, then just watch Bibby play it. And then if you want someone else, then go watch Wizite. You know, no, Wizite is ridiculous. Obviously, we play a controller. Wizite, mouse and keyboard, exceptional level. Although I haven't seen you live for a few days. I may have been missing it. It was like probably a couple of weeks since I last jumped in. No, don't do it. I'm not. He's lying. But yeah, go follow. Also, speaking of shout-outs, let me do another one. Purely because it makes me chuckle every time I see it, let alone hear it. Boom. Go check out Lotus as well. No luck catching them swans then. I can't do the accent as good as he can, but yeah, nice.
No one can do it better than Spike.
I mean, Spike does it without intended though, so he's kind of hamstrung by it. But yeah, no, I haven't played the Imposters mode myself. But then again, I've not played Fortnite this season, so yeah, we'll force Bibby to play it. We'll force when he jumps back on and plays a bit more, we'll make him play Imposters so we can see it.
I think it was last week that I was playing it, and I was like, I wonder if Wiz is on, because I was gonna jump into your stream and say, yo, do you want to hook up? Do you want to play some games together so you can carry me? But he wasn't on.
I think that would actually be quite funny on multiple levels, because Wiz is so good and so fast at building, but he's also quite competitively minded with his team stuff, so I've not seen him basically have to hard carry before. I've usually seen him going some to the left, build over there, calling out, and people are moving, and people are like, "Can you build me a wall, please? Just a little 4x4 box, something I can just sit in."
I will build you a ramp. You need to cancel this roof. I can do that for you.
It's in the Battle Royale segment, but it's nothing to do with Battle Royale. And as far as I'm aware, it's not community credit. It's a game mode by Epic. See, just reach out, give them a couple of quid. Just buy in a sloth like you did with Mediatonic. Jobs are good. Fortnite isn't the first to copy Among Us. There's Goose Goose Duck where they change the characters to geese and the killers are ducks in disguise. I mean, I get that. You will get that. The custom mechanics aren't copied. You will get small devs doing the same sort of thing, thinking this is an easy cash in, cha-ching. But to see the biggest game in the world just lazily copy it, that's where the issue is. And it's like I say, it's all back down to the it's fairness for everyone. Get rid of those 30% charges. Give small devs a chance. Oh, is that a small dev making a game? Yoink! Relay. Epic have done it for years. I remember when Unreal Tournament came out and the mechanics was very similar to Quake, and that was the 90s. Yeah. So which just goes to show that emotive video in Fortnite reenacting 1984. It was PR. We've said all along. It's profit. They are fighting a good fight in there, in my opinion, not everyone's opinion, in the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. But are they fighting that fight because it's a good fight, or are they fighting that fight because it leads to good profits? The two aren't mutually exclusive, and yeah, sometimes fighting the good fight is just conducive to good profits. So let's fight the fight, yeah. Sometimes, yeah, fuck it. I mean, it's a good fight, but it leads to a drop in profits, so we won't fight that fight. And that shows it. They're happy to fight the right fights for them. Can I explain about the mode? Because there's a mechanic that's pretty rubbish, which will kill the mode. Yeah, feel free, drop it in. Appreciate the shout, broski. One chin. Thank you very much for the clipping video, by the way. I'm not going to reference it on the Scoop because Scoop listeners on demand will be like, what the fuck is that? He'd lock Bibby in a box. Yeah, just keep building walls around him as he's trying to run out of the blue. Let me in.
I won't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm very good at shooting. Like if it's a 1v1 or 1v2, I am pretty good at that. I will hold myself. I don't get scared anymore. I still get scared on PUBG, but on Fortnite, I'm more than happy to engage. It's just when it becomes a build-off, nah, leave it. It's not me. Don't need it.
This shit, I'm out. Yeah, that's that thing where you see someone, you're like, brah, 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 brah. Instant dropped. Yeah, okay. Demon on the sticks. My aim is on point. Someone else, brah, get down. Nice. Someone else, oh, shit. Oh, fuck, that's it. And within that time of you hitting your first bullet, your third bullet in the burst, he's already turned around and built like a full penitentiary. Walls with mounted turrets, guards walking around. It's like, well, I'm going to lose this one then. I'm going to stand behind this tree and see if he... Oh, no, he's built a wall. He's built a ramp. Fuck, he's over me. Oh, fuck.
I have just put the tweet out, by the way, for loot drop. It is in the chat. So for you guys that are subscribers... Go over there, get your vote in. You're good to go.
Nice. There is the asset on the screen. 3 things. Our loot drop this month, prize this month is being chosen by you. The giveaway is exclusive to subs, all levels of sub. Gift is tier 1, 2, 3, prime, whatever, and you get to choose by using the vote just down below. Would you rather win ICU merch? A crate of muscle mousse. Doesn't have to be the blue one. You can choose whatever flavor you want. NBA 2K22 when it's released, or Kina or Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, however you pronounce it, when it's released. Only subs, so your chances of winning are much higher than those general follow and retweet stuff. Speaking of follow and retweets, we are doing a smaller giveaway. If anyone wants a chance to win some key rings and stuff for Kiwi, which is a game that we played a couple of months ago now, it does come out at the end of the month. We're giving some merch for that away as well. Exclamation mark giveaway in the chat for that one. So exclamation mark loot drop, exclamation mark giveaway if you want details. Anyway, Wizard says, I personally don't think it's going to do anything for Fortnite numbers, purely because Fortnite is so catered to every audience, young and old, with things like no battle chat, no blood. The word kill is replaced with elimination. Yeah, I mean, that's it. And in this mode, there's no talking to people in the public game or no text typing. They added this GTA-style weapon wheel with different types of communication. Like, you press a button and a wheel pops up with 4 to 5 options. One option, for example, could be questions, and then you have another 4 to 5 different types of questions you want to ask. And then, we're not done yet, you have another layer of communication to ask your question. It's a really, really complicated, and people get bored of playing like that. And the only way to talk to people is if they're in your party, and they've obviously done this to protect the younger audience. And I'm sorry that's so complicated to follow, but it's also very complicated to ask someone. No, I get it. It's so basically, anyone that's watched Among Us on stream, it's a very verbal thing. I mean, we've said it before. Among Us as a game is kind of secondary. Among Us is just, it's a platform for you to share your personality. To watch a good Among Us stream isn't the game being good, it's the people playing it that's being good. And Among Us is just a vessel for you to get your personality. You've got 6 different people in that have got really good personalities that bounce off each other. Then that changes it. The game becomes incredible. You change that to Clunk. Okay, do you want to A, ask a question, B, something else, C, something else, D, and then you click on the question bit, which then brings up another sub-menu, and it's like, oh my god, I'm playing Menu Simulator. What the fuck? So yeah, it's not great. I mean, and like Wizard says, that's probably a protection thing in terms of if everyone just jumps in and you start. I mean, it'd be like being playing Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. You go into that game and it's like, who do you think is the imposter? And it'd be like, your dad, your mum, and it's like, for fuck's sake. So there's a reason why everyone's not in these verbal chats. But yeah. If the mod gets pulled, not pulled in terms of like yoinked off the store, but if it doesn't live for very long, that's probably going to be a big part of it. But yeah, there you go. Fortnite rips off Among Us, if you didn't catch the story. Among Us, aka Imposters, is going to be a new game mode within Fortnite, a non-official direct rip-off collaboration, which is a bit of a shame to see. So there you go. Me and 6 friends tried to play yesterday, and it was a shambles. So unless you have 8 to 10 people in Discord party chat, it's dead. I mean, it's the same thing with it.
That's Among Us, to be fair, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I mean, I know Among Us, you can obviously play mobile, and a lot of people kind of do that stuff anyway. But how does it work on mobile? Do you have party chat? Because Chloe's played a bit on mobile. Is there a form of like verbal party chat, or is it just written, or what?
There is like a speech bubble and that comes up that you can type stuff in as well. But I imagine like the best way to play it is with your earphones. Like if you're playing on a mobile, you can plug your earphones in, can't you? You can do it on Fortnite. Like I've played Fortnite on my mobile, my brother's playing on Nintendo Switch, and we've just plugged our mobile earphones in, obviously, to our mobile on Nintendo Switch, and we've been good to go. That's how me and you played at Christmas. All that time when I was playing on my Switch in the front room, I just put these earphones in. Good to go.
Do you remember that?
It's got a microphone on it.
Playing PUBG on the way back from Resonate, and we were like, I'm just sat there and I just heard, bing, bing. I was like, babe, your mic's on. I've just heard the train announce coming through in game. Oh fuck, shit! The entire game. Oh yeah, fuck. Yeah, Fortnite text chat, it will work, but it's literally like Graham said, Menu Simulator. Yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. I mean, Among Us, like I say, it's not so much the game. It's a vessel for personalities, and if that vessel for personalities becomes a hindrance, i.e. Menu Simulator, then people aren't going to play it, so it's not going to go far, which I hope it doesn't go far, if I'm being honest. I don't like to see games fail, but I don't like to see other games get ripped off in a chase for profits, and that's what's happened there. So if it fails, it fails. If it dies, it dies. Let's move on, though. Our next story. Sticking. Nice. To I didn't know whether to go for speaking or sticking, and we ended up with spicking. So nice. Speaking of rip-offs and lawsuits, specifically lawsuits. Wrong one. This one. California DFEH says Riot failed to inform employees of their rights to speak on harassment claims. I think this was David that provided this morning on Discord. So thank you very much, David. Anyway, the California DFEH said in a statement that Riot Games delayed informing former employees of their right to speak out on discrimination within Riot. This is written by Sean Murray at The Gamer. So Activision Blizzard's lawsuit might be making the most of the headlines recently. You wouldn't have known, but a very similar suit was brought against Riot Games for the exact sort of gender discrimination and sexual harassment that is allegedly occurring at Blizzard. California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, the DFEH, began investigating Riot Games for unfair workplace practices, gender discrimination, and harassment back in 2018, culminating in a class action action lawsuit where former and current employees sued Riot. A settlement was reached in August 2019 for $10 million. However, the DFEH is saying the terms of that settlement violated the law. A statement put out by the DFEH, and first reported by Kotaku, said that Riot's decision to privately settle with approximately 100 women who waived their claims and rights runs afoul of the anti-retaliation and anti-interference provisions of the Fair Employment and Housing Act. The statement goes on to point out that such settlements and employment agreements that bar discussion with the DFEH in ongoing investigations have, quote, a chilling effect on the willingness of individuals to come forward with information that may be of importance to the DFEH as it seeks to advance the public interest in the elimination of unlawful employment discrimination and harassment. The DFEH said it's been asking for the terms of Riot's secret settlements agreements for the past 18 months, with the courts even ordering Riot to produce these documents. Riot eventually did so in April 2021, where the DFEH found that, quote, employees could not voluntarily and candidly speak with the government about sexual harassment and other violations and obtain relief in the government's actions. The court then ordered Riot to issue a correction on the settlement agreement, allowing employees to discuss their time working at Riot with the DFEH for the purpose of their investigation. But once again, Riot delayed issuing their corrective statements by 2 months. In a statement to Kotaku, Riot denied allegations that it prevented employees from assisting with the DFEH investigation. Quotes, notices are being sent to former employees to confirm that Riot's severance agreements have never in any way prohibited speaking to government agencies, the statement read. Riot has never and will never retaliate against anyone for talking to any government agency. End of article. Interesting. So basically, the way that I summarize that is that Activision Blizzard is currently in the headlines for having gender and many other forms of discrimination cases ongoing at the moment. This has previously been, and this isn't new news, by the way, this has previously been discussed about Riot. Riot had similar sort of things in the past, but came to an out-of-court settlement worth $10 million. So basically, paid people off. However, within that, Riot didn't make it clear that those people that have been paid off, whilst they're paying off, they're essentially buying their silence. You can buy silence, it's a thing. But buying silence when it comes to reporting to governmental agencies that are looking to make things better for everyone else, that is a step too far. And it seems as if Riot didn't make that clear. They knew they didn't make that clear, and now they've been dragging their feet when it's come to making everything correct as a result of that. Bib, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, they're obviously just going to keep on going against it and saying, no, we're not doing this. They're trying to save face, but you can't wait 2 months to try and give your side of the story, or just try and hold off 2 months so that it doesn't get swept under the carpet. I'm trying to find words here, but it says in there, but once Riot said they delayed issuing their corrective statement by 2 months, that's a red flag if you've ever seen it, if I'm being honest. Like, there's no way you can wait that long to give your corrective statement and then expect people to take your word for it. That's a giant red flag. So again, the other party just looks even more a victim in this one than it was initially thought. Like, you can't. It's like unionizing. This industry is obviously, it's going to take its toll at some point. It probably needs to happen, especially in giant corporations like this. You can't go on for much longer, because the longer it gets left, the more dodgy practices can be put in place. It's very odd. It's very odd. I'm trying to find words to describe it, but I genuinely can't, because it's so bizarre that they've been able to get away with it for so long and so horrifically. Do you know what I mean?
Just updating the discussing now. The reason I'm talking out loud and rather than just letting you keep talking is because I wanted to jump in there to add something in, but I just wanted to finish it. Riot Games / employee rights. That's the discussing now, because it's such a difficult thing to put into title. I completely lost my train of thought. I wanted to jump in on what you were saying then as well. I mean, this is like that was it. It was the 2 months. The 2 months delay. I understand if you work for a quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organisation, a quango, as they're referenced. Basically, you're kind of the government, but you're not the government. So you're a separate company from the government, but you are still involved with the government, and you can do your own stuff, but you also have the bureaucracy and red tape and stuff that you've got to cut through. And you need to pass something out to your employees, so you want to pass on the information to them, but then you need to get sign-off from the governmental organisations that you're linked in, but you're not fully linked in. So you have routes that you have to go through, and you have to pass things for submission. And with any governmental organisation, 7 days turnaround. So, and then eventually, actually, it's been 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. So you chase it, and then they send it back to you, and actually they need amendments, and you send it back to them. And what I'm basically using a lot of words to say is it could be a long period of time if you're a quango to get information out. If you are a private company like Riot Games, there is no reason that it takes 2 months to inform people of their rights as a citizen, as a person, their legal rights. There is nothing that justifies that. You aren't going through layers of bureaucracy and red tape. This is something that's already super serious and cost your company $10 million. So this has already been escalated to tier 1. The people at the head of the table are informed of this. They are. All your shareholders are informed of this. So there is no reason for that to take 2 months, other than just see if people forget.
Yeah.
Send it out third class. But I mean, there's only second class, but send it third. Don't know what that means. It means sit on it for 2 months and then send it second anyway. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, let's do that. That's it.
I'd be interested to know how long they could realistically and legally sit on this. Was they waiting for the very last second to be able to respond to this? That was 2 months the allotted time, or was it like 4 months? So they just chose to go halfway through. Like, I'd like to know the whole story of that. But either way, it doesn't put them in good light, because if they had nothing to hide, I'm fairly certain they'd have responded back straight away. But they haven't, which is usually, again, a massive red flag.
I mean, it might even be a case of they don't have anything to hide as such, because they may have seen the error of their ways, or they may have weeded out the bad ones that were causing shit. But any revisiting that now, people will see that and just believe it as Riot is shit now. They're bastards. Fuck them. Don't buy their games. And it brings them bad PR. So I understand from a business perspective why they might be wanting to wriggle away from it. It's like, fuck, we've already paid paid our dues here, financially and in the media headlines. So if we keep it there, we're just going to keep paying for this. People are going to see the Activision Blizzard stuff and think that we're doing this right now, and we've fixed it. Which I don't know if that's the case. But let's just say that could be the case. And I get their intent to try and want to get away from that. But the reason you're in trouble in the first place is because you weren't doing the right things. The wrong things were being allowed to fester and continue. And by not providing people with information that they should be given, you are doing a bad thing. So it's a wrong. 2 wrongs don't make a right. So you just have to take it on the head. Yeah, if you're paying for your sentence again, then it just is what it is. It is what it is. The people that had to deal with all of that bullshit at first, they had to pay for all of your fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, negativity. Let's just use that. They had to pay for all your negativity and didn't have an option in it. So just put up, shut up, suck it up, and just fucking continue. So yeah, not great. I hope this is a something and nothing story. It could just be a case of California DFEH and a video games brand. Okay, well, this is a good sensationalist article here. It could be good to point a picture that the video games industry is all full of wrong-uns and we need some major stuff. I mean, that could be the case. I hope it's not. But I hope this is just a something and nothing article that just disappears, and it's a case of, DFEH, we can use Riot's name alongside Activision Blizzard. It's good for column inches. I hope that's as far as it goes. I hope it's journalism. I don't like sensationalist journalism. I hope that's what this is, just because that means that we don't have a bigger problem that needs fixing, because that's an easier win and that's better for people. But if there is a bigger problem, then it fucking definitely needs the airtime, and I hope it is fixed. But yeah, we'll keep you up to date. If anything else comes from this, We'll keep you up to date. The gist of it is, though,
Mhm.
I'll give you the title again. California DFEH says Riot failed to inform employees of their rights to speak on harassment claims. So yes, we're not saying they weren't harassed. They were harassed. We know they were harassed because we paid them $10 million outside of a court to keep them quiet from and to appease them, to make everything fine. We know they've been harassed. However, well, you're not allowed to talk to anyone about it. And you're not that you're not allowed to talk to anyone. We'll just tell you all the people. We'll give you all of the information that you can do. Apart from that one. Oh, fuck, yeah, I forgot to give you that bit. Oh, yeah. You were believing in me to do the right thing. I see. I did. I will do in... What, can you put a reminder in my calendar for 2 months down the line? Nice. Yeah. Shit. It's shit. Shit. Anyway, tell you what else is shit. Cyberpunk. I'm joking. That's just the only straight to the point. Yes, it's the only segue I had in mind. It's one that I'm going with. To be fair, as a paying customer, it's one that I'm entitled to. I hope that isn't the truth, though. Actually, before we jump in, Jamrag Juice. Morning, Simps. I'll read. Also, once again, I shout out every time I see your name in the chat. One of the most interesting names on Twitch. Good morning, Jamrag Juice.
Morning, Spike.
I'll read. Spike got told off for telling a colleague they had nice boobs. I don't get why he was so hungry. Good morning. Good morning. So yeah, is Cyberpunk shit? Is basically the question. I mean, in my opinion, it could be. Not for everyone. It could be, but might not be, as the case may be. I hope it's not. I hope I get to play Cyberpunk in its best forms on console. Not the PC version, because I have the console version. Do you want me to... Do you know what? Fine. Fine, there we go. Here we are, there we go. Console version of the game, still in its cellophane wrapper. It wouldn't be a Cyberpunk stream if I didn't show you that I'm a paying consumer that still hasn't played the game because it's not good enough. Anyway, it might be soon. And that's the Discussing Now title, not the article. That's the article. There we go. Matt Wales at Eurogamer says Cyberpunk 2077's, quote, biggest patch to date includes first batch of post-launch DLC freebies, plus improved minimap, perk respec, and more. CD Projekt is readying to release Cyberpunk 2077's biggest patch to date, the third major update since the RPG's disastrous launch last December, and has now shared full details of what it will bring, including an improved minimap and the game's first selection of free DLC. Prior to Cyberpunk's launch, CD Projekt whipped up player interest with the promise of free post-launch DLC. However, plans for additional content were put on hold while the developer worked to fix the game's litany of bugs and to bring Cyberpunk's widely lambasted last-gen console release up to a more acceptable standard. Now, though, according to senior Quest designer Patrick Mills on tonight's 1.3 update dev stream, quote, streaming and memory management have reached a point where we can start trying to deliver those things. As such, 1.3 includes the first of Cyberpunk's free DLC, mostly falling into the category of minor cosmetic additions. There are 2 new jackets, a red and shiny number, plus a grey and yellow option with a fur collar. Ooh, alongside the Quartz Bandit, an orange and black car with its innards on the outside. The jackets and car are 2 separate rewards unlocked by completing small objectives received on reaching certain points in the game. Anyone beyond those points will get the DLC on loading a save. And CD Projekt says future DLC drops will follow the same pattern of integration, with the goal being to make the world feel a little richer. 1.3's final DLC edition is an alternative look for Johnny Silverhand. A combination of bare chest, dinner jacket, and sweeping hairdo that can be turned on via the options menu. Those looking for more meaningful additions and changes should cast their eye towards CD Projekt's 1.3 patch notes. There are, as you might expect, an astronomical number of bug fixes addressing all areas of the experience from gameplay to UI to quests, but players will likely be most interested to hear about the key improvements, which in this instance take the form of an enhanced minimap which zooms further out while driving for easier navigation, and the ability to reset and reallocate perk points from the skill tree. Elsewhere, CD Projekt is touting stability and performance improvements across all platforms, said to make a bigger difference on last-gen consoles and lower performance machines, as well as other notable quality of life changes. These include the ability to upgrade crafting components in bulk, new database links and journal entries making it easier to access relevant information, increased save slots, and less frequent messages from fixers trying to sell V a car. And for the cat lovers out there, V's apartment now sports more sleeping spots for nibbles. The full list of fixes and additions is big, it says in italics, and while patch 1.3 certainly won't magically transform Cyberpunk into a radically different experience to the one that launched last year, the bug fixes alone suggest it'll be a far healthier state when the update arrives. There's no release update for 1.3 yet, but CD Projekt says to expect it on all platforms. Copyright hashtags, quotes, air marks, all of the things very soon. So, big patch, tons of updates, plus Johnny Silverhand's naked chest. What are your thoughts, babe?
Yeah, I read something else about this game as well. Well, of the millions of articles that are out there, stating that the devs didn't realize how difficult it would be to patch the game once it's out, which kind of gives me the idea of they knew how difficult, like how bad the game was before they put it out. Do you know what I mean? So like, they could have delayed it for another year, and I think, albeit they would have got huge backlash from uh, areas of the video game community, I think it would have done them a lot of good by doing that. And that's such an easy thing to be able to say now, because in hindsight, everything could be completely different. But this is one of the worst launches of a video game I have ever seen, and it's gonna take a large redemption arc to be able to bring it back to its the CD Projekt's name back into absolute glory. Like, I don't think it's damaged the reputation of the likes of The Witcher, and it just will put a new Witcher game under the microscope. Like, is it going to be anything like this game that was in development for 8 years? Do you know what I mean? But I'm still excited to play it, and I keep on saying this. Like, as much as I despise the way that the game was released and the horrific state that people have had to play it in, like, I know Spike enjoyed the game, and he's mentioned it in the chat again, how much he enjoyed the game the first time round. I know Asim enjoyed the game the first time round as well, but there's so many game breaking bugs in there that I don't want that experience when I come to play that video game. I don't want my game to crash at times where I haven't possibly saved it for a while. I don't want to be able to walk around the city, fire a gun, and then the entire frames drop down to 1, and then it turns out there's nobody else around you anymore. Like, I don't want cars just exploding or going up into the air as soon as I am in that situation. Like, there's so many things wrong with the game that I know it's going to take a long time, and I've been very patient for the last 9 months now since I've had this game on my shelf. You've been patient with that game in your drawer. I feel like the only time that we're going to get an half decent experience from this is when it eventually comes out on the next gen consoles. Like, they stopped selling this game for a reason. They told you that this game is coming out on PlayStation 4, go and buy it. A month later, they say, actually, this doesn't run on your PlayStation 4. It needs to be a PlayStation 4 Pro or PlayStation 5 to make this game playable on your console. Like, the console you bought it for, it does not work. They didn't tell you that until the game came out. There was so many different people playtesting and reviewing this game that they wasn't able to show any kind of footage. They got given footage to be able to promote this game. That, again, is a massive red flag. Like, there's just so many things wrong with how this game got released, and I'm glad that they're still plugging away at it. I still don't think I think in another 18 months they will still be plugging away at this, but eventually we're going to get a game that is going to be amazing, like, in every sense of the word. And I'm still fully hoping that that will be the case. Like, I will back this game until I can't. And I don't feel like I'm at a point yet where I can't, because I know that they're still plugging away at it. But it's just such a disaster. Like, it feels like they released 20% of the game, or the 20% worth of something. Maybe not the entire game, but 20% of something. And they may still be getting it up to like 50% now. I still feel like there's so much more to be able to do to make this game worthwhile and worth the money. I seen this morning when I was trying to pull the news articles together that Best Buy have got this game for less than £10 in their store. That is criminal for a game that's 9 months old.
There was a good news article. So we covered Cyberpunk in June, I think it was. Biggest selling game of the month, and it came out with like say 5 days left of June. It could be a week. I don't know what it was. So within the 5 days of June that it came out with, it managed to outsell every other game throughout the whole of the month. In 5 days, that's it. Biggest selling game of the month. July didn't even chart, so everyone bought it that was interested at once, and then didn't touch it. Nobody bought it after that, which is it's such a bizarre thing for something to have so much interest. Is that because a lot of people have played it? Is that because people have given up on it? Is that because people have written it off? Is that because people think what I'm thinking? I'm still intrigued. I still want to play through Cyberpunk. I want all of the stuff that I bought into for what felt like 15 years of marketing campaign. I want that, but I'm not ready yet. So was that a case of the early adopters were like, yep, we'll buy it in June. Everyone else was like, okay, we'll wait. Evil Scotsman, thank you very much for the raid. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you.
How are you doing? What have you been
Appreciate
playing?
it.
What have you been playing? What you been playing? Thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it. How are you doing? Welcome in. We are live with The Scoop. This is our video games podcast, by the way. And we're currently talking about the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is having its biggest patch today, patch 1.3. Although we don't know when it's coming, other than soon. Which, as where was the quote? I don't know if it was Tito. It was definitely a Tito-esque quote. There we go. It's coming soon, TM, in the usual CDPR timescales. It should be coming in about 12 years, Kappa. Exactly. It's so soon, but I mean, I'm happy to just. It needs better. We need more. But I will wrap that in the caveat that we gave it time. I mean, back in December and November, myself and Babe, we were actually in the studio then. I remember being sat in the studio, throwing my laptop on the floor accidentally off that chair, which I did like 3 times in a row.
Every week.
Yeah. And having conversations like us. And people in the chat, I remember Mr. T was in the chat, and we were talking about how not the Mr. T, but the Mr. T, talking about how we let's give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. The game, you know, they've said it's going to be really good. Yeah, they've kind of butchered their PR plan by not giving out content and only giving out certain codes. But do you know what? We'll give them the benefit. They're trying to hold on to see it, and then it still turned out to be an absolute disaster. Air quotes on the disaster, because that is a little bit, not entirely, but is a little bit subjective. Because I think Spike said it in the chat, and Bibby named Spike and Asim, who said the same sort of thing. They both played through it on PC and had good experiences. I know some people that played through it on console and had decent enough experiences. You can have a good time with it, but it's not what was expected. There is still bugs, particularly on console. And I just look forward to the day that we get that, the No Man's Sky sort of story. And then there was comments in the chat as well. Was it Swoosh or was it something? Swoosh. Battlefront 2 had a bad launch, lost its player base, and EA really fixed it. Fucking I know. I mean, I've make no mistake about this. I like to whinge about this as well. I bought the deluxe Stormtrooper edition or whatever of Bad Company 2 because Battlefield 2 because I loved Battlefield 1, and I've played minutes of it because it just wasn't great, and it has been fixed since then. Myself and Baby even tried to stream it when it came to Epic Game Store or whatever it was for free. Exceptional game now, exceptional game. And Cyberpunk didn't have the perfect not Cyberpunk, CD Projekt don't have a perfect history with The Witcher, but the reason The Witcher is revered so much is because they continued with it and stuck by it and built for the fans and delivered, and I don't doubt that they will do the same again. I just, my concern is, but when? We're already 9 months in. You're getting to the point where it's becoming almost okay. That's not what you want for a game that's been marketed for years. Oh, that game looks almost okay. I'm going to buy that, says no one ever. But the sad thing is, people like me have already bought it. So almost okay is something that I've got to wait for. Hopefully we get beyond it because, yeah, looking forward to a good time playing Cyberpunk. I want what Asim and Spike have had, but I want it on my PS5. And I don't feel that's too much to ask for. But I know that it could take some time. So in the meantime, I'll carry on playing PUBG. It's fine. There was a conversation. There we go. Swoosh says, is Cyberpunk ever coming to PS5? Ad says it's already on PS5. But then we get into the conversation about there is no dedicated PS5 version. There's PS4 back compat. And that's the thing, though. Like, I understand they're trying to fix the PS4 version, larger install base, more users, more issues that need to be fixed. Once we get to a point where they box that off, I'm happy enough to sit and wait. Fine, look after the masses. Make sure the PS4 users get a good experience. Then either box that off or get the team split in half and get people working on the PS5. People have bought the PS5 for the next-gen experiences. And this is a next-gen game that you thought would just, it's fine, it's going to work. I'm sure it'll work fine on consoles. The internal reports say it works pretty well. Did you actually ask anyone when you were these internal reports, or was that your internal assumption? So yeah, PS5 version, please. Thank you. Evil Scotsman says, hello there, good morning. Tito says, a bit of fool. I had a few bugs, but nothing awful for a game of its scale. I want next-gen FIFA on PC. We don't always get what we want, Kappa. That is true. Ad says, Outriders is broken as fuck too. Really? Is that true? Well, that's interesting because I'm going to use that as a jumping off point to jump into the next and final article of today, written by Mollie Taylor at PC Gamer. Outriders developer doesn't even know how many copies the game sold. Imagine a developer of a game not knowing how successful it's been or not. People Can Fly, which is the dev, says it's been left in the dark by Square Enix, which is the publisher. So Outriders developer People Can Fly says it hasn't seen any royalties from Square Enix yet. It doesn't even know how many copies of the game were sold. The developer was due to receive royalties for the game's first quarter 45 days after its release on August the 16th. In an investor note that went out on Tuesday, People Can Fly says they've still not been paid, suggesting that the game, quote, did not break even for Square Enix. Thanks, Eurogamer Poland. Quote, we don't have any sales figures for Outriders, executive Sebastian Wojciechowski said in as a per machine translation. We estimate it at between 2 and 3 million units and assume that this was a result that would ensure profitability for this project. The lack of payment by the publisher probably means that, according to Square Enix, it is not so. Wojciechowski theorized, every time I say that, I'm getting closer to Mike Wazowski. So Mike Wazowski theorized that the cause may be related to the way Square Enix handles its sales policy, or things like our Outriders Day 1 release on Xbox Game Pass impacting sales. Ooh. The general consensus, however, seems to be that People Can Fly is relatively in the dark about just how successful its game has been. Working with the publisher has many advantages, but also its disadvantages, Mike Wazowski continued. One of them is the low impact of People Can Fly on sales activities and the incompleteness, or as in this case, the lack of data obtained from the publisher in this regard. The executive concluded by saying that being largely left out of the loop on Outrider sales is, quote, one of the reasons for the studio looking to self-publish future games. This isn't to say that People Can Fly may not receive royalties in the future. Mike Wazowski says the developer is hoping to receive its first set of royalties this year, quote, despite the disappointing information. While Square Enix has been keeping overall sales numbers hush-hush, the publisher did reveal that Outriders had 3.5 million unique players when it was released in April. Morgan gave it a score of 63 when he reviewed it, calling it an inconsistent looter shooter, and that didn't quite manage to find its feet. I've asked Square Enix for comment, and we'll update with any response. So there we go. We've heard from Mike Wazowski himself. Mike Wazowski, Outriders developer, doesn't know how many copies of the game sold, hasn't received any funds from the publisher Square Enix. What are your thoughts, Bib?
Again, this is just one of the games that I don't see that many people playing anymore. Like, this game came out with a massive bang, and there was people in the community that ended up getting partnerships with Outriders, so that they can, talk, get things firsthand and promote it for them and things like that. But this game has just fallen by the wayside. It doesn't fill you with confidence. It's just a shame that I don't believe that they haven't seen any sales figures. Like, someone somewhere will have those. It's just whether or not they're keen to share those. And if they don't tend to share them, it's usually bad news. I just find it bizarre that they haven't had anything. But the fact that it's on Xbox Game Pass, it can either be the best thing for your game or not the worst, but it can't give you a good image of how good or how bad your game could be, because there's been a lot of games that I've installed on Game Pass that I've uninstalled about an hour or two later because it just doesn't grab me. It doesn't fill that void that I'm looking for in a video game. So it could be a blessing or a curse, and it looks like it's probably the latter in this stage. But it got 3 million people playing it, I think it was. Did he mention about 3 million units, and assume that this would be a result that would assume profitability for this project? I don't. Surely they can see how many people are still playing this game to see whether or not it was worth their time. There's somewhere we'll be able to see how many people are active on that server.
Yeah, I mean, they will have that data. They'll definitely have that data in terms of number of players, surely. I mean, they're the devs. They're the ones that control the servers. They're not the ones that are publishing it and putting it out into the world. Let me jump back through the comments, though, just so I can catch up. So we got to Ads' Outriders is broken as fuck too. Someone chose Outriders as his loot drop game. Someone got mugged off, Spike. Yeah, oh, okay. I can't remember who that was. But
I can't remember who that was.
that wasn't your second one, was it, Spike? I can't remember. No, you got Assassin's Creed, didn't you, as your second one, I think. No, Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk is what you got. Yeah, I think. Anyway, yes, I played it on launch, and yesterday I played it on launch and yesterday. It crashes a lot. Sales data should be delivered from the publisher to the dev, not the platform holder. In an ironic turn of events, People Can Fly can no longer afford to fly to business meetings and take trains instead. It's because your game's still broken as fuck. No new content, and the end game slashed post game shit. Tito says it's weird. People Can Fly never position the game as a live service replayable game, but it very much plays like one. Spike says, the thing is, Outriders played so damn well when I first played it, then the end game was pretty poor, and now it seems to be buggy as hell. Tito says, in fact, they said it's not a live service game. They rather nerf builds than fix crashes, promised DLC, but still no news on it too. Is it bad that I've never even heard of the game, or at least don't remember it, says David? I mean, I do kind of have some... I have sympathy for Square and People Can Fly here, in the fact that this was, I think, the last game that I saw inviting people to an event, like, pre-COVID world, when the world was kind of normal. So there were events being cancelled left, right, and centre where people were kind of like closing things off early. And Outriders got a bunch of content creators and took them to Sweden, I want to say, so that they can get hands on with this. I only really noticed, I didn't know it was happening. I didn't know there was a build up to it. It was only when Arix, who's a content creator that we know, went and posted about it on social media. I was like, oh shit, Arix is going. And then I realised that actually quite a few content creators I'm aware of have all gone to this event. And then it kind of disappeared. They didn't do one thing that Cyberpunk did do, so we're criticizing Cyberpunk in the last one, is they kept the content going. They got Keanu Reeves out, and then they had a steady, not constant, but steady drip of content. You knew stuff was coming. They would give you a heads up of when more was coming. Outriders didn't, and that's probably a result of the pandemic. So Square Enix have probably tried to continue and maintain, but they didn't have a constant feed of information. Outriders essentially dropped off entirely for me. And we do the scoop. We have done the scoop all the way through the pandemic, so we know about what news is happening. And it dropped off until they did their next influencer beat, which was basically when they're closer to launch. So that's probably a big part of it. So yeah, I think on all levels, this game's probably been stung by the pandemic just as much as as much as it probably could be as he punches his mic.
But at the same time, it's on Game Pass and people have been sat at home. I mean, April this year is kind of a shit time really, because most people was probably returning back to work as well. So the time, like the amount of people that probably would have been playing it this time last year would have been through the roof, because people would have still been at home. But they've released it just on the cusp of people starting to return back to the office. So the numbers that they would have expected probably wasn't close to what people would have been actually realistically experiencing.
There's the audience drop off. You don't have the captive audience, and if your game is a little bit gash, which if
I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and just steamrolling there.
Wow. But I mean, that's me paraphrasing comments in the chat. Basically, people saying it had a promise, and then it turned out to be a bit buggy, no real end game content, and that's what killed fecking Anthem. No end game content. Oh, nice, big, flashy, but no what's the word? Substance to it. It was just kind of like, oh, great, it looked nice, but we didn't go anywhere. That's what kind of has hampered Marvel's Avengers. Okay, looks nice. The pack shot looks incredible because it's Marvel and Avengers, but and they are slowly building and fixing that. Another Square game as well. So yeah. I mean, obviously not devved by Square, this one. It's People Can Fly. So yeah, the Outriders developer doesn't know how many copies of the game sold. They say it could be down to Xbox Game Pass and things like that. I mean, that's an interesting bit to throw in, because I mean, I'm all for bad news for Game Pass right now. Not because I want it to fail, but because we only ever see the good news. And I want a balanced discussion around Xbox Game Pass. Just like I want a balanced discussion in terms of consoles. I don't want console wars. I don't want Xbox Game Pass to look shit because it's a green brand and I play the blue brand or whatever. But Xbox Game Pass, it's easy to talk about the positives because they are so numerous and so clear, but there's a lot of potential negatives there. And you don't often see games coming out and going, do you know what? The fact that it was on Game Pass could be a part of the reason why we don't have revenue. And if that's part of the reason there, then there's conversations there as to who made that decision. Was that a publishing decision to put it onto Xbox Game Pass? Is that something that developers need to keep into account? If you're a small developer and you're going to work with a larger publisher to get the reason why People Can Fly, which is a developer that a lot of people probably haven't heard of, worked with Square Enix, is because Square Enix is a massive publisher that has existing relationship with press, PR contacts, content creators. They can get you on magazines, on Twitch Rivals or whatever. That they can do that sort of stuff. That's why you go with them. You get in bed with the devil, sell a little bit of your soul to reap the rewards later. The downside is that you don't get the right relationship. So if Square went with Game Pass lost sales and there's no DLC or other revenue streams, does it make it worth it? So, but yeah, it's also interesting. They don't know how many copies of the game sold, and they haven't had any revenue. The fact that it was on Game Pass is a guaranteed revenue stream there. Game Pass will have given Square some money to have that game on Game Pass day one free. So surely some of that money should be going back to People Can Fly. It could just be a case of it's broken comms. Square could be like, well, we've got your fucking money. It's just inbound. I'm not saying tardiness is an excuse. If it's late, it's late. But it seems a bit odd to see People Can Fly. If it is that, they're talking about it publicly. You don't talk about your business partners publicly if you're still working with them. So it's all a bit weird. It's all a bit weird. Spike says, I bought Assassin's Creed, best purchase ever. Bibby agrees. They never promised DLC. They said if the game did well, they would look at possibly adding additional content if players wanted it. Outriders, the bit better Godfall. I mean, I would probably play Outriders if it was in front of me. Godfall, no, that's not for me. So is Avengers still shit then? Apparently not. Not overall. There's a channel that I drop in regularly because he's a UK content creator called Bob Duck and Weave, and he plays a lot of Avengers, and he is really enjoying it. So I don't know whether he's a big fan of it. I've not watched too much of him actually playing it, but he swears by it. So some people are loving it. So yeah, it's probably better. I don't know if it's still shit or I don't know if it's great. It's probably somewhere between. Outriders is not live service. It's not fair to compare them to Anthem or Marvel's Avengers. I'm not comparing the business models, though. I'm comparing strategies. People expect it to be replayed with hundreds of hours of endgame content, have unrealistic expectations, but the content and the endgame conversations are coming around the fact that we're talking about copies of game sales. So if you don't have replayable content and your content isn't about microtransactions and continued service, then what is this even conversation happening about? Like, why are we having a conversation about how many copies of the game sold? Because to put it on Xbox Game Pass, you're naturally going to take a wind out your sails in terms of numbers of copies sold. So it's kind of like what does it mean? Why do we need to know how many copies of the game got sold or not if you know that you've kind of sold selling rights to Xbox? That's kind of what putting it on Game Pass is. So yeah, that's what I mean. It's all bizarre. The whole situation's bizarre. The fact that we don't know about sales, the fact that it's they're talking about their business. I don't know. Yeah, business partners throw them under the buses. But well, I don't know. People expecting. Oh, no, I've done that. But it's an online third-person shooter game. Is that not de facto live service these days? I say that with some interest, but never really got into it. It has optional co-op. Is the Ascent live service? War for Wakanda expansion is okay. If you can get the game cheap, it's worth a play. Avengers is still shit. I mean, Spike's got a good opinion on it as well, so obviously it's good to get some balance. I'm talking about Bob Duck and Weave playing it, and he's liking it. Spike also played through a lot of it on stream, so he has put hours into it, so has a very valid opinion in there as well. Although, to caveat my caveat, Spike did say that when he plays something enough and he gets bored of it, he doesn't want to play it again. Just when we were playing Back 4 Blood the other day, so maybe Spike's opinion's already been tarnished by Spike's own playthrough. I don't know. Ooh. Anyway, basically what I'm saying is read around. Some people like it, some people don't. I believe from my input is that it's good, but it's not quite where people wanted it to be just yet, but it is making moves. So to use Battlefront 2, we're not quite at the Celebration Edition content yet, but we're on our way to it. to use that as an analogy. Anyway, my opinion is basically it's the same, just with a few changes. I've played it recently, but it's not different enough. There you go. Tell you what is different, though. Ending the show, because that is the end of the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Wednesday's Scoop, our third one of the week. We appreciate you all being here. We are going to drop off now, though, and jump back on. We're going to be playing some PUBG, so if you want to play some PUBG, feel free to join us. Feel free to join us in the game as well. If you have the game and you want to jump in, if you've got an Xbox or a PlayStation, you can jump in. We will be doing comms on Discord. We could potentially do Xbox party chat depending on how that works, but yeah, we'll sort that in the game. So if you want to join us for PUBG, either as a watcher or as a squad mate, then feel free to stick around. In the meantime, we are going to wrap things up. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we jump off and come back, babe?
Yes, thank you very much for joining us for the third episode of The Scoop this week. We still have 2 more episodes, so if you want to help shape those shows, there's 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. This is at Ice Cream Upload across all major social media platforms, or get involved with our Discord. If you are watching this on any of our on-demand services, then go to the description below. All the links that you'll require will be there listed for you. But all we need from you is the URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow? Mr. Graham Day.
3:30. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Ish. It's more like 3:30. Tina says, sorry, I don't understand your point, Graham. They simply want to know how many units sold and what money they made on it. It's not live services. It's not trying to have a recurring monetization model. The point I'm making is they don't know how many copies of the game they've sold, and they're talking about Xbox Game Pass has probably derailed their profit streams. My point in there is that just seems like a flawed decision to put a game that is tied solely to tied to sales and revenue streams onto Game Pass, but then have that it is. I mean, we're drawing conclusions here. The sales numbers, we're assuming because it's in a title of an article that's a big point. Are they looking at sales numbers? Is that their driver? Is it engaged users? It just seems like there's no real cohesion. What was their aim? Was it to sell as many games as possible? Because that's kind of what this title suggests. Then put it on Game Pass is probably not the best way of doing that. So if they don't have any revenue because they've not hit sales figures, then why did you put it on Game Pass? Because you're taking the wind out of your own sales. So everything in it just seems a bit bizarre. If they're wanting continued users to play consistently and the Xbox Game Pass alone isn't enough revenue, then why did they put it on Game Pass? Because that's instantly going to stop people buying it on other platforms. It's just patchy. It's all over the place. Like, yeah. Anyway, well, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. We are going to wrap things up. Thank you for joining us for The Scoop. We will see you soon for some PUBG or 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow for the next episode. Until then, have a good day and remember, stay frosty.